Okay, it's 12 o'clock. That can only mean one thing. It's Power Hour with the Institute of Health and Social Care Management. Thrilled today to be hosting a long-term and loyal partner of the Institute in Amanda Reynolds from Blend Associates. This is the Introduction to Mentoring program, and Amanda's going to talk you all through it. Amanda, we're most grateful to you for doing this. I know this is a hot topic for many of our members. We've got quite a good audience today, but I suspect on the catch-up, it'll be even more fervent. I'm going to hand straight on to you, if I may. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Really good to be here. Before we go through the slide deck, I just wanted to say, yeah, delighted to be here. It's a program we set up for you online 3 and a bit years ago now, based on a really clear need for people to support their colleagues at the beginning of the pandemic. I think mentoring one's colleagues is as relevant and as needy today in the complex world in which we work, with all the challenges that health and social care are seeking to navigate. So a little bit about me. I am founder and MD of Blend. We now have 35 plus coaches working on our faculty. They're all master coaches, pre-approved, to work across the range of health and social care and charity sector. I still coach 1 day a week, and I've got a special interest in coaching women leaders to thrive. And people may have been on the session yesterday, or they might be interested in the recording, doing a little pitch for IHSCM yesterday. So we created a coaching faculty, and we run a range of leadership development and training programs. I'm passionate about great public service. Dogs and sculpture is probably the best thing to say there. And we're running a Creative with Clay wellbeing session later this summer as well. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek of some of the content of the program and a little bit of tour input now. So why is it helpful to be a mentor? So it works. And it works in times of crisis and major change, when you're stepping up to new roles and you're facing transformation. Oh, wouldn't it have been nice to land on a steady, even space after all those waves of the pandemic across the public sector? Wouldn't it be great if everything was straightforward and there were no challenges, no changes, no huge service demands? But we're not in that place. So mentoring remains a really important skill set that if we can develop, we can provide a huge benefit to our colleagues and teams, because we all need support, friendship, advice, and problem solving to do our jobs well. And as I said, you know, we haven't landed on a steady, even threshold, have we? So many challenges. But it helps the mentee to think through the challenges in their role. So you as a mentor, if you want to go ahead and do the training with IHSCM, can really be there for somebody working through how to do their job better. But it will help you as well, because you'll grow and you'll be a better leader, colleague, and person in life by mentoring others. And it's an enabling skill. And Jade's put in the chat my modeling for mindfulness session coming up if you're interested in creativity and well-being. So why do this course when you're all really busy people? Well, you'll actually learn some practical skills. You'll learn at your own pace. You'll build on skills you've already got and any learning you've already accumulated. And it's practical. You just do a reflective piece at the end. It's not a pass or fail, so no pressure there, and you get CPD points for doing it. And if you opt in to the high performance leadership competency framework at IHSCM, you get even more points. And we know, John, points mean prizes. So what's not to like? So I'm going to talk a little bit now about what's involved when you sign up and what to expect from the course. So when you sign up, you will get the theory and practice behind mentoring. You'll get walked through one model called Grow. It's not the only model, but it's a fabulous starting point for building your confidence and your practical experience of mentoring. The program's been designed by us in Blend, and you'll get really practical insights in how to mentor a colleague, trainee, or even reverse mentor a line manager. Train at your own pace. We're all busy and we've all got different learning styles. So, you might be somebody who thinks, right, I'm off on Thursday. I've got no shifts again until Saturday. I'm going to crash through this. Great, crash through a few modules. You might be somebody with really busy work patterns, working most days and then busy with family commitments on your days off, and you think, oh, how can I fit this in? Well, start a module, do half of it, go back to it, recap later. If you think, oh, I haven't done it for 2 weeks, go back and refresh yourself. Watch the videos more than once. Some of us learn and take information in immediately, some of us need a refresher. So it is built to suit you and to suit all the variety of commitments and styles of learning. There's a reading list, there's a bank of tools and powerful questions, there's a reflective piece. All you actually need is a good link to Wi-Fi to access the modules. That's all you need, really, and to give yourself some dedicated time and a quiet space to log on. That's all that's required. So if you sign on, what do we expect from you? Well, that you will complete all online modules, you'll watch the videos, and that you're able to then understand and articulate the key components of mentoring, and you're confident to give it a try. Most important really is that, enthused to start mentoring, and enthused about learning. See this as a sort of building block to more learning within IHSCM and taking that learning back to your workplace. So I told you the modules go at your own pace. There are 6 modules, and they're in slide deck format, so you can just flick through. Module 1 settles you in, gives you an idea of what's to come, gives you a few reflective questions to get you thinking about the program. And then the sort of main work of the modules is module 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that's where the sort of meaty material is, and you'll explore what's mentoring and how it differs from supervision, line management, supervision and coaching, what makes a good mentor, digging into that role model, and there are some really good videos to support you with that. Powerful questions that you might start to use, and from that getting your own half dozen great questions to take into your mentoring session. How to think about your own well-being, your own buoyancy. And then module 6 is ending the course and making sure you're doing your reflective assignment. There's videos to support that, and they're all YouTube links on the IHSCM site. So you literally just go in, you click, you watch the video. So that's me having a big canter through. So let's pull the slide deck down. Ask this wonderful audience if you've got any questions about the course. Are you mentoring now? So you can put your hand up and we'll try and see your actual hand or your virtual hand, or you could put something in the chat box. But I would love to know, are people already mentoring, but they're here to sort of develop and extend their skill set? Are you here because you're just inquisitive about what this program involves? What questions have you got? Who wants to
I can see we have Olawatu Sinloba, a very loyal member. Lovely to see you, Olawatu Sinloba. Please, Amanda, ask your question.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and a great pleasure listening to you, Amanda. I actually went through the short course, and I was very, very impressive. I was very, very impressive. I thought about you all through for a couple of days, and I had to even discuss it with some people. I've written my reflective piece. I just need to, go through it again before sending it over. And prior to that, I'm in HR with NHS England. And anytime there is an opportunity to train someone, I always offer to help. And I found out that after training them, we develop a relationship, and they come back, they ask me questions, and in their career and other area of their life, their personal life. And because of that, I see myself doing good in the area of mentoring people. So watching all the videos, I watched all the videos. I have my notes here, and I enjoy the conversation you had with, I can't remember his name, with a gentleman. I like the conversation, the way both of you ask questions, the way you respond to it. And throughout the course, I also learned that mentoring is actually different from coaching. And I love the way you explain it, the way you explain the difference between both. I just love, for me, it was like from the beginning to the end of the course, there was a relationship, there was a connection from the beginning to the end. I love the interview with the lady with the minority group, the BAME. I love the questions. Everything was just so lovely. And to be honest with you, it's been in my head, and it's also given me the nudge to help people, especially the Black minority people in the society, because we have so much knowledge, and the fear of, oh, will they accept me? Will they take me? Is making a lot of people draw back. But I love the way you encouraged from the beginning of the video to the end. I love your encouragement. I love the way you dealt with every questions. When they ask questions, the way you answer it, it was just so wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. I will send in my reflective piece, and hopefully I'll be registered as a mentor. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, John.
Told you she was loyal, you see? One of the stars of the show.
She sold the course. But I guess what I'm hearing from there is that the course was beneficial to you. Thank you for the wonderful feedback you gave us. But what I really heard was that that's enabled you to then go on and start to make relationships and connections and train colleagues. And maybe it's validated you thinking, I've got all these skills, I've got all this to offer colleagues. This validates me. I'm an IHSCM mentor. And that's really important, isn't it? If that builds your confidence, that's fabulous. So thank you. John will pay you later for that feedback. We've got Marjorie.
Fabulous. Isn't she great? Anyway, we've got Marjorie has got her hand up. Marjorie, hello. Do speak up.
Hi there. Yes, I'm new to all of this. In fact, I've been a member of the IHSCM for quite some time, but not taken advantage of any of your courses. So I'm quite looking forward to finding out more information. I already do mentoring. We're a training practice here, quite a large training practice, and I'm the business manager, and I do quite a lot of mentoring with other practice managers and the registrars here and my own managers within the organisation here. I'm hopeful of being able to formalise that situation. And I think that, well, I'm hoping that this course will give me a bit more structure to the mentoring process. A lot of my mentoring is informal and it's ad hoc. And I get approached by the health board maybe to mentor someone who's recently becoming a training practice or whatever. But I would just quite like to formalise the structure, and I'm hoping that this course will do that.
It will definitely give you CPD credits completing it, and it will definitely take you through the building blocks that you need to consider and that you need to have to be a great mentor. It sounds like you're already mentoring So you already have a lot of the natural instincts. So it will validate you, I suspect, and it will offer you a little bit of challenge to sort of reflect on how you work, what helps, what's less helpful. It will also maybe position you. Some people who've done the course with us previously have then thought, oh, I love this, I'm going to go on and actually get a formal mentoring qualification. So this is an introduction to mentoring with CPD points, but people might want to go on and do even more. But I think you'll be ideal for this because you're already mentoring, and it will be about, again, validating and hopefully deepening your knowledge of mentoring. Thank you. Chat box. Have we got people in the chat box here?
Yeah, Gemma, her microphone is not working. She says, this session was suggested to me by my line manager. Love developing myself. Concern previously been the time required to be an effective mentor and the commitment of it, which is expected once being on a register. Amanda, would you like to comment on that? Because in my experience, you can be a mentor. You don't have to devote hours and hours to this. This can just be somebody who you can have, relatively short conversations with.
Yeah. Hi, Gemma. Absolutely. I think doing the course, feel confident that you can do it at your own pace and in a way that suits you. So if you're busy in work, you should be able to fit that in as long as you just set aside a little bit of time each week or every fortnight to do that. And you can learn at your own pace, as I said. In terms of when you are a mentor, this is really interesting, isn't it? Because your organisation may encourage you to go on the mentoring register. But one of the things we talk about in the course is contracting with your mentee. It's also important to contract with your organisation. So I will always say to people when I work with them directly, work out how much time you can give to mentoring. And if your organisation is saying we want to match you to people for mentoring, work out what their expectations are. If they want you to work with 6 people a year and you think, I can't do that, that's too much, offer 2 people, or maybe don't join the register straight away. Do it informally, as John said. There are lots of different ways you can mentor. And it depends on your style and your approach and your available time. You can mentor over the phone, you can mentor on a Teams call, you can mentor in the coffee shop in a break, if you're working in a big hospital, for example. So you can find out what suits you, but it is really important that if you're going to step into being a mentor, you're confident about setting some boundaries here, because I always think one great mentoring relationship can change the world because it can change that person's experience of work and life that you're mentoring. So just one at a time is fine. And as you build your confidence, you might then work with 2. You might stay working with 1. That's fine.
I think that's very well put, Amanda. The other point I would make, Gemma, is we are looking later this year to create a mentoring how can one describe it? Resource for members. So people who want to be mentors will be able to put themselves forward for that. People who would like mentoring can put themselves forward for that. It's kind of like a, dare I say, a dating agency to kind of matchmaking kind of proposition. So you can expect to see a little bit about that later in the year. And of course, if you've been on Amanda's course, then that will be very helpful. And see, Sean is saying, why is coaching flavour of the month and seen as the answer to all organisational problems, whereas mentoring is the poor relation? Oh, good question, Sean.
That's a great question. Well, it shouldn't be the poor relation, should it? Because mentoring, there's huge evidence about its value. It's a way of, the biggest difference between that and coaching is that sort of eldership model. You'll tend to have some experience of how to do the job, how to work, how to manage work and life. And they're really important resources to give to your colleagues. So actually, it shouldn't be the poor relation. But yes, there's lots of talk about coaching at the moment. Coaching has its place too. But it is different to mentoring, and I'd love to see the public sector really grasping mentoring and see what that can offer in terms of building mentees' confidence and competence to do their job, and actually unleashing all these amazing mentors around the place who can be role models of and leaders of mentoring in organizations. So it shouldn't be the poor relation. Maybe there's an opportunity. Everyone says coaching in the organization. Say, why haven't we got a mentoring policy? Because one of the things the course will help you do is think through how to negotiate with an organization getting a mentoring policy up and running. And that's something you can come back to us in Blend separately, and we'd be delighted to talk to you about how you might approach that in your organization once you've gone through the course. But yes, I agree. It often is poor relation, but it shouldn't be, should it, John?
Well, no. And the other point I would make is that I think this is about individual choice. If you would like to be a mentor to somebody, then you should put yourself forward for that and propose it to them. You don't need to wait for organizational permission, I don't think. I think this is all part of just being a great leader, being somebody who can be trusted, being somebody who with whom staff can engage in a confident manner, and you're there to help and support and inspire. It's kind of going back to kind of lesson one of our high performance leadership stuff, is that it may have been okay back in the 80s and 90s to tell, direct and instruct and think that's how you effectively lead people, and you will always get a level of performance from that. But if you're serious about leading people to really make the best of the skills and talents and aptitudes that they have, then you need to be in the business of supporting, encouraging and inspiring, and that's where I think mentoring can play a huge role. And you'll see your people flourish if you commit to having a go at it.
And you can be a leader of mentoring without having a boss badge. You don't need a boss badge to be a great leader in the space of mentoring. And as John said, it's you are probably people who colleagues already come to for advice and support and a bit of guidance. And if you're that person, you'll be a perfect person to do the mentor course, because you're already someone that's got something about you that colleagues feel can help them. So it's almost like you give off a bit of that energy anyway in the team. And it can be really hierarchical in organizations, can't it, across the public sector? And people think, oh, it's those people up there that should be authorizing this. Do the training, get that toolkit of skills, and that will help you build your confidence, as John said, to help your colleagues. And you don't need a boss badge to do it either.
There's something else that's really important about this, which is have a go, start. Don't wait until you think that you are now so highly skilled that actually this, you can't fail at this. I think the best way to do is just start, have a go with some of the principles that Amanda in the course will teach you, and then just have a go. And it's the same with anything. As you practice, the more you practice, the luckier you get, the better you get as well. So just have a go. Nobody's expecting perfection. I think if you're prepared to listen and be empathetic and thoughtful and just support people, then that's a great place to start. You should never be worried about somehow being perfect for this before you somehow feel qualified to have a go at it.
And there's an opportunity here, isn't there, Jade and John, in IHSCM to, if a few people sign up and they give permission to share their emails, then they can practice on each other. That's a great place to start. Have a safe practice with each other at mentoring and giving each other some feedback, because it is.
Well, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do that, Amanda. Maybe we should do an event where we say, look, this is a safe space. You can just come here and you can practice. That would be a good idea. Cool.
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? Because then it is difficult, isn't it, to get started sometimes. And the start can just be, let's have a play with this. Absolutely. Great idea there, John. Giving you all some work. Shall we have a sneak peek at some of the course content, and I can walk
Go
you
ahead. Go
through
ahead.
that? So we start with some of the basics. You know, what's the origin of mentoring? And it comes right back from the Greek classics. When Ulysses went off to wage war, he asked one of his household members to guide his son while he was away. And he put him in the hands of his trusted friend, who was called mentor. So that's where the word comes from. And then by the late 1700s, it became a noun in the English language, meaning wise counselor. So I would say its modern usage is you're just a bit more experienced in something and you can offer that mentorship to friends or colleagues or staff in your team. And that experience, I think, is really broad. We can often think that the experience of being back at work after maternity leave and juggling, oh, the baby's got conjunctivitis and can't go to nursery and I've got to work a shift, how you deal with that and how you keep all those plates in the air, so to speak, balls in the air, plates on the from dropping, can be mentorship, because you will have lots of colleagues thinking, oh, I'm not handling this very well. She looks like she's got it nailed, or he looks amazing because he comes into work and he sets really good boundaries about dropping the baby off and picking the baby up and working from home one day a week. So it doesn't have to be technical stuff, but it can be technical stuff. It can be that you are just more experienced in how to do the job, and there's someone new, and whilst they're getting formal training on the job, just how you deal with, if you're a phlebotomist, how you deal with grumpy patients, or when you can't find a vein, you know, that can be mentoring as well. Someone's gone through the technical training, they've been passed off, but it's that confidence to have a go and do that work that's really important. It could be somebody is thinking of moving from one role to another and they just want to use a mentor as a sounding board, because you're somebody who's really good at helping people think through applying for a job, going through the interview process, you know, what it's like to be in front of a panel. You know, you just might be really skilled at that. So whatever your skills are, that's mentoring. Next slide, please. So what it is and isn't. So it's offline. It's not something you do as a line manager. So it's someone other than the line manager. And that's why I said the line manager in a phlebotomy team might absolutely and should be interested in everybody being up to date with their training. That's their job. And they might supervise everybody to make sure they're up to date with their training and they're safe and competent. But offline, somebody else who's an experienced phlebotomist might be really helpful to mentor colleagues who are really anxious about how they get from their training to their work and how they manage their day and how they get around the hospital. That's offline, and that's mentoring. Okay. It's in the space of help. So we will talk about empathy and compassion, listening skills, resources, questions that help people think differently about scenarios. We often call that reframing the problem. It's about significant transitions, so helping you move into new roles, new teams, new challenges. It's active, not passive, so it's what we call learning, and it should be goal focused. So some of what will help you think about is what are the goals people are wanting to work on. You know, is it, I need to build my confidence, I've just come back to work and I don't feel as confident as I did. Great mentoring challenge. And it helps the person to learn. It's developmental. It's about growth and improvement. Sometimes people might say something like, I've been told I've not got good presentation skills. And that can be a real negative weight on your shoulders. A mentor would go, have you had any feedback about what it is particularly? Could we have a practice? Could we look at some resources online where people are really good presenters? You know, I might ask someone if I was mentoring them, can you think of someone you think is an amazing presenter? And they'll name someone famous. Well, why don't you go and watch them and see what you learn from that presentation? So it's developmental, it's about growth. It's not telling people, but helping them to learn. It's confidential, and that's really important in organisations. People need to feel this is a safe space. It's not leaky. You're not going to go and talk to their line manager about what's going on. You're not going to share that as sort of chit chat and gossip in the organisation. So we talk about contracting for confidentiality and keeping the relationship confidential. And that might mean you mentor people away from the coffee bar at work. You think about the space and how to protect their confidentiality. And it's reflective. I think Albert Einstein famously said, if I've got to make a life and death decision, I'll take 55 minutes to think about it and 5 minutes to make the decision. So it's about the thinking. It's about spending more time thinking rather than rushing into it, because we're faced by complex problems and decisions all the time. And the most useful thing a mentor can do is create you a thinking space, somewhere where you can do your thinking about this and you can practice and try things. Next slide, Claire or Jade or whoever's running the slides. So there's different types of mentoring, and a colleague right at the beginning talked about diversity mentoring and reverse mentoring. Wonderful woman, Priscilla, who I interview in the slide deck, who we're still in touch with because she chairs the BAME network staff network for her large mental health trust. And so she reverse mentored a previous CEO. So that's really interesting how mentoring can help someone in a senior position who's white and male see the world through someone else's eyes, see it through the workforce's eyes, who may not look like them and may not have the life experience they have. So you can mentor your peers. You can have high potential programs where someone's on a sort of leadership track, like the NHS graduate program or the local government graduate program. You can reverse mentor, as I said, that Priscilla did. You can mentor in the diversity space, and this is really helpful, where people who've got similar backgrounds might come together and think about how they can mentor others who are not getting access to the same development maybe and feeling like they're getting held back. And as John said, you can do speed mentoring, quick 10 minutes in a break. You can quickly mentor, and they can be both informal or formal or a mix of both. A little bit more about how it helps. Well, I don't need to go through that long list of the benefits of being mentored, being a mentee. You know, it is a space where you can just learn from others. You can gain advice, encouragement, support. You've got someone on your side, I think, is essentially what mentoring is about. And they can just help you develop skills, strategies, goals, and get valuable insight into the next stage of, oh, we've cut something off there. Probably your career, I suspect. We've missed that word off. And development. And being a mentor is really beneficial as well to you as a mentor, because sometimes in life we need to see it to believe it, and we need to practice it to know it. So learning is often, about 70% of learning is best done by practicing it and making a start. So if we're a mentor and we're mentoring somebody, we will develop skills ourselves. We will also reinforce our leadership and management qualities, because you're like, oh, I did that. That's amazing. Yeah, I am good at that. I've been so busy doing X, Y, and Z that I've forgotten I've got those skills and qualities. So it'll increase your confidence and your motivation. And if it's a volunteering opportunity, your employers will love it. Your colleagues will love it, and it will definitely enhance your CV if you're thinking about moving on to something new, something more challenging. And you'll get some recognition. Sometimes it can be a bit like, oh, there's Fred over there, he does X, or there's Betty over there, she does Y. Oh, and they're a mentor. Gosh, I didn't realise they had that skill set. And it will make you feel great about yourself. It will give you such a big buzz of well-being, mentoring, because there's almost something, I think, about being on someone's side that it's that just brilliant association. I've mentored some people who early in my career, when they were NHS graduates on that scheme, and now they're really big cheeses. And they're still connected with me on LinkedIn. They don't move in my world, but they're serious big cheeses now. And I just get this when I see something pop up on LinkedIn that they're doing. I'm like, oh, I knew them when they were just an NHS graduate trainee. And I was part of that journey. And I get like a huge sense of pride to see where they've got to in life. And I may not have directly connected with them for the last 10 years, but there's some sense of fulfillment and then personal growth for the mentor of seeing people make progress and go on their journey. And that's just such a great feeling, you know, and sometimes you do get direct feedback on how it helps. So we've then got a slide on making the case for mentoring. Well, you know, if your organization is thinking about a mentoring plan, developing a resource around mentoring, oh, there are so many benefits. We've just put a few on here. It can improve recruitment and retention of the workforce. John, I think there's a little bit of a problem with recruitment and retention in the public sector at the moment, isn't there? So, you know, this is a really good way of keeping your best people because they feel supported by great mentors, or they can be a mentor themselves, and that will keep them connected with the organization. Your employees will be more motivated and engaged because they see the organization investing in them. It definitely improves culture because what we see, we become. So if we're around lots of great mentors who are encouraging us to develop and grow, we become that. If we're around an organization which feels a bit harsh, a bit negative, all a bit hard, we sort of soak that up as well. So mentoring can have a real positive impact on an organization's culture. It can support succession planning. Sometimes the biggest thing that stops us taking an opportunity is us. We're like, I can't do that. I can do what I do really well, but I'm not confident enough to do that. And so mentoring can help you explore what's getting in the way. What is that lack of confidence about? It definitely improves communication at team and organizational level because you can use your mentoring relationship as a mentee to practice your communication skills. You can role play some of this. And it can, if used appropriately, impact your diversity challenges. And many organisations feel like there's a bit of a drawbridge in the NHS around sort of band 6 for people who are from a BAME background. You know, so actually, how do we support these people progress? How do we use that community to help themselves and give us some feedback as an organisation about what we need to change around here to impact these challenges? So let's drop the slide deck and ask you, are you interested? What questions have you got about the course, about doing it? What's piqued your interest? That's a real sneak peek. I'd love to hear people's thoughts. Is it making you think, yep, I'll sign on, or I need to know more? Any questions out there?
We've had one sign up, Amanda. We've had Lizzie, who's had to leave for another meeting. She's just signed up. So that's fabulous.
Already, so that's great. Yeah, sign and leave, that's fine. Anybody reflections or questions they wanted to put up? now
I mean, I am intrigued how many of the people actually on the call have already done the course or have signed up versus those that are kind of curious about what
Yeah, good
it's like
question.
for them.
Good question.
So if you have already signed up for the course, could you raise your virtual hand? I'm counting about 3 in that case. So the rest of you, look, what a lovely opportunity. And of course, it's free. You know, all of these things come as part of your institute membership. You know, there is no money to pay. We never ask you as part of the institute to reach into your pocket to you know, to be able to buy access to other stuff. Everything that we produce, once you're a member, is free to you as part of your membership. So please don't be anxious or embarrassed about it. Just have a go. What's the worst that can happen? Amanda, am I right in saying the course, it would, to do it properly, take you about 6 or 7 hours in total?
Yeah, it might take more like 10 hours if you're somebody who likes to go back over stuff, you know. It depends on your learning style, but anywhere between 6 and 10 hours. It's not lots, and you can do a chunk and then come back to it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's, you know, there's no real barrier to people having a go at this. Okay, well, look, if there's no further, has anybody got any further questions to ask at all, either of Amanda or me? I'm quite happy to take them.
Otherwise, I've got just a couple of little slides to show about mentoring models.
You go ahead with that then.
If you're interested. So when I call this getting the party started. So when you mentor somebody, it's really important to have a model. And the one we use in the course is the GROW model. I'm just going to shut my door because my dogs are going crazy. But they can go crazy on their own in the yard without me. So it's really good to have a sort of model, you know, almost in your bag that you put on the table, or if you're mentoring virtually, the virtual table or a screen share. Because mentoring can really help you think about and notice as a mentor the verbal and non-verbal communication that's going on when someone starts to explore a model. Because sometimes we can have a good chat about our challenges, but it's good to dig into something. It can structure your conversation with a mentee, and it helps their brain move out of the amygdala, the little bit of the primitive brain where we're in crisis mode, you know, fight, flight, freeze, fix it mode, into thinking about it mode, processing it in the rest of your brain. And so then they get into that reflective space and they can then start to explore. So one little model that I invented ages ago is about cakes. And I'll just show you how everyone loves cake, don't they? I know you're not meant to have too many cakes these days, but they're a little bit of what you like, doesn't do you any harm. So if we think about the word cakes, okay, so you could share this slide and get the person to think about, they might brought a challenge like how to improve how my team works. So you might want to say to them, well, how do you think the team communicates with each other at the moment? Or how do you communicate with the team? What could improve? You might think about when you're in a team meeting, what's the level of attention like? Or is everybody off doing their emails or on the phone or coming late, leaving early? So you get some really good data and ask some really good questions about the attention. Do we pay attention to people when they leave or when they're new, when they're struggling? So you could get some really good questions around that. K is for kindness. You know, how kind are we to each other in this team? What could we do to improve? How much empathy do we have for each other when we're struggling? Or is it a bit like, oh, we've been set this challenge, we've just got to get on with it? So you could ask questions there. And are we smiling when we're with each other? People who smile give off a lot of information about how interested they are in other people. And if you go in your team and your mentor asks you to notice this level of smiling, and they come back and they go, no one smiles. or they're all out on a Monday, but by the time we get to Wednesday, it's really tricky. What might that be about? What's affecting people's ability to smile through the day and smile at each other and smile at the patient? So there's just an example of a little tool. And there's the GROW model in a lot of detail there. I just swung over to let the dogs in. So if any final questions, or are you just ready to start the program? Let's pull the slides down and see where we're at.
Well, there you go. If you just wouldn't mind putting up that last slide one more time for me.
Starting the program. Yeah.
There you go. So you can see some of you on the call today may not be Institute members. You can use Mentor 23 to get a discounted membership for a year. But do you know what? I mean, just go online and have a look. How much would it cost to actually undertake a mentoring course where you are paying for it? And I'm telling you now, it's a lot more than £70. So this is the best value under the sun. May I encourage you to not only register as an Institute member, but because you're going to get access to the mentoring program, you're going to get access to a heap of other stuff as well, as Oluwatosinloba alluded to right at the beginning of today's event. Well, okay, Amanda, I think we leave it there for today. That's been awesome.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you for...
Teresa's signed up. There we are. There's a few more now. They're all coming out. That's fantastic. All right. Well, look, we look forward to seeing you there. And thanks so much for tuning in today. Thank you, Amanda. Lovely job as ever. And we look forward to seeing the benefits of it later in the year. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.